stock exchange,
Yeah,
making money from whether she did it right or wrong. The fact is, circumstances in her life. Let's say she did do it. Circumstances in her life, has led her to try and do that and try and get away with it because she needs money, obviously, and that's resulted in more people being able to trade her bonds on the stock exchange. I mean, it's just not right, even if she was a criminal.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, if there is no lawful money in circulation, then where's the crime? Where's the injured party? It's like when you're when the policeman pulls you over and says, okay, here's a ticket for not wearing your seatbelt. And I say to them, okay, well, where's the injured party?
There is none. There is none.
Yeah, there is no injured party. Okay, there's no habeas corpus, right? Yeah. So anyway, it's an interesting. The rabbit hole can go off in many different directions, and it's very, very deep. But it is all interconnected, and all of this stuff does fit together. And you can see, like I've researched stuff off every tangent for a very long time, and it's surprising how connected it is.
And we're going to start looking at putting together ebooks that explain every step of the way, just so people to know. We are going to start to try and take all this huge mountain of information and try and turn it into bite-sized chunks for everyone. And I think the best way to get that ball rolling would be to start posting up other questions that you may have onto the forum, which is found at truthmovementaustralia.com.au, and you can just click on the forum button at the very top. And once you've signed in on there, you'll find the Freeman Society area, and you can ask away. I'm sure. I mean, Thomas has already signed up on there. I'm sure. Do you mind answering questions on there? Not now, but as the weeks go by.
Yeah, perhaps if you could forward me to my private mail, like a bunch of them, I can sort of answer them in one go. I'm sort of very, if you can imagine, I'm sort of very pushed for time, having family commitments, but also a completely separate other persona in the real world that does completely other things. And all of this sort of research side of things for me has always been a kind of a backseat interest for myself. But because it's coming into the forefront, and I have so many people asking me questions, I do find myself up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when I shouldn't be trying to kind of catch up, as many of us do, because obviously people like Mark and a couple of Marks and a few other people around, we do have more information and more things for people because we've been doing it for so long, and so everybody else now who would like to come and learn wants to kind of learn straight away right now. But what I would like to say is it would be really beneficial to in the first instance, go out and start to have a little bit of a research yourself, because even if you started by reading some basic things such as the Currency Act or the Constitution, or just some basic things that allow you to see the fictional world and how it operates, and then have a read of common law and see the differences between common law and admiralty law and statute law, just to sort of, on a basic level, to see the differences between them. Because if you look at your inalienable rights, those are the things that we're focused on. Those are the things that we're saying that we're taking back, that have been taken away from us because we've allowed it to happen. So that's really all that this is about.
And you're right. The more people research this kind of thing and start to understand the different terminology, when you're talking about these things, they'll understand it better, because there's obviously words that you use that aren't common language, and the more that they understand what they are, the more they're going to start to understand. As we continue this, and I'm sure we'll have you on, in a couple of months' time again, and we talk about this in more depth. It'd be really good if people had done their own research since then and started to find some more questions, more answers for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to finish off with one question that was from Dylan, who unfortunately we can't get his Skype working to speak, but he's got a very, very good question, and it's one that's been on my mind, and it's one that I've asked people about already, and it's about the exemption account again. Now, I've heard one gentleman has actually emailed me, and he's mentioned that he has a pardon from the Treasury and he has access to his exemption account. What I would like to know is...
I've heard of that too, and I haven't actually seen it yet. It's like with everything, but that all of us have kind of been researching in perhaps specific areas and been kind of like punching holes in this veil, in this curtain where the Wizard of Oz is hiding. And so, you know, each of us have kind of poked our head through and gone, hey, there's nothing here. But yeah, I'd love to be able to see that, because if there's any areas that any of us are kind of working on, which is very specific, whether that be tax, or whether that be common law, or whatever it might be, it's great to be able to share and see something like that, because it lets us boost ourselves up to that level very quickly.
Absolutely.
You know, so let's see the process, and if one person has a success, then everybody can have a success, in my mind.
We all have to work together on this. So in your opinion, you haven't seen anyone who's had access to their exemption account yet. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars here, right?
Exactly. But, you know, as I said before, it's very, very difficult to be able to get any sort of written documentation from anybody on this process. And the only way that we've been able to deal with anything, whether it be a debt or any of those sorts of things, is to deal with it in the private accepted for value method, you know, and doing it that way. And we basically get it by default, because they don't offer up any resistance and they don't admit to it. Okay, and just so I might point out these 4 things to people right now. Okay, there's only four ways that you can reply in this world, and the first 2 are dishonorable. It's what's known as dishonor. Okay, so you've got silence, which means, you know, you've got the right to remain silent, and silence is tacit agreement. So just be aware of that. And you've got argument. Okay, and an argument is dishonor. So whether you're arguing or whether you're whatever you're doing, but you're entering the controversy. So those are the 2. Those are the 2 dishonorable. Now, the 2 honorable ones are acceptance, okay, which is full acceptance, or conditional acceptance, which is, you know, what the accepted for value thing is. It's saying, okay, well, I accept what you're saying for value upon this condition. You're actually putting a condition on the acceptance. And anybody who knows anything about banking knows that a bank can't not accept something. It has to actually do a conditional acceptance. It's like saying, okay, yes, we will honor your check, but we're gonna check to see if, you know, there's value behind it. They can't dishonor you and just say, no, we're not doing that. So there's very, very strict rules in commerce.
Sounds like it. I mean, those kind of that kind of information, as far as I'm aware, we need to really start to put into some sort of format where people can start to learn what these different sayings mean. For one, I mean, that has to be the number one thing. So when people read these kind of these acts, they can start to understand what they're reading. I mean, and I really found that going to these group meetings here in Perth have really started to help me with that, because there's people there that they come to you and say, oh, check out this letter I'm going to be sending to my bank, you know, next week, and you can read it, and they start to explain to you what it all means. And that kind of thing is priceless, hearing other people's stories and what they're going through, and having them, you know, in the process of trying to get out of a debt, or, you know, that kind of thing is so critical to understanding this.
It is, yeah. I should just point out, while you're on that topic of debt, look, none of us have any debt. Yes. Okay, it's just all an illusion. Okay, so a lot of people think that what we're doing here is some sort of illegal activity. The only illegal activity here is being perpetrated by the governments and the banks through their fractional banking and fiat system, and by conning us into thinking that we're actually loaning their money when we're not. We're actually just being loaned the credit that we just created, you know, and that is the real criminal activity here, and it should be stopped. And so all we're doing in these letters, and in the ones that I've just been perfecting at the moment, which here, and it should be stopped. And so all we're doing in these letters, and in the ones that I've just been perfecting at the moment, which when I first started